Hey guys, this is Warren Garrett. I'm the president and lead minister of God's Chosen Ones. We wanted to put this video together today to talk about a concept called the fundamental attribution error. This is a concept that really plays a big part in why the success rates are so low in the substance abuse treatment centers and programs. Now, we talked about this a little bit before. The success rates are real low. Locally, we're looking at about a 2% success rate. Nationally, we're looking at about 5 to 10%. So, and a lot of this has to do with this concept called the fundamental attribution error. Now, what that means is it's an overestimation of internal characteristics being the reasons for certain behaviors, mostly negative behaviors. Now, we can apply this to different areas of life, but we want to talk about how this relates to addiction and ineffective substance abuse treatment. So what happens is somebody will use or they'll relapse or something like that, and it'll just basically be put on the person. They'll say, oh, well, the person didn't work the program. If you've ever talked to anybody or you know anybody that's been into any kind of substance abuse treatment, if you say that phrase, it works if you work it, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. It's a common phrase. It's said all throughout the substance abuse treatment community. But the problem is that there's an overestimation of that. That's not to say that there's not some truth to that, but when we're talking about a 2% success rate, they want to say that 98% of people just didn't work the program, and that's the only cause to it. Now, what this does is it lets these programs off the hook. It lets these program directors and leaders and managers, if you will, it lets them off the hook with no responsibility. Now, what makes us unique is that we try to get away from this attribution error by taking personal responsibility for those that don't make it. We want to figure out how can we make recovery and sobriety more appealing. And so we look for different ways to do that. Now, one way that we found to do that is through inspiration. That's really the key. For example, this past weekend, I was able to sit and conversate with the real Rick Ross. That's not the rapper, but the guy that had the big drug case back in the 80s, was tied up with the Contra scandals and all that. I was able to sit and conversate with this guy. Just that alone was very inspiring. Like, to hear somebody of that stature tell me that I could do something, there's no way to explain that. You can't really teach that or anything, but it really has a profound effect. So we look to try to use inspiration as a way to improve the success rates of these programs. This fundamental attribution error, this is basically a cop-out. This is a easy way for these programs to not have to show any progress. They don't have to get into any kind of it's the only profession where you don't really have to show any success. You can just say, well, our program's great, they just didn't work the program. So we want to try to get away from that. So another way we could look at it is like this. There was a study done back in the 70s, and what they did was they took some seminary students and they got them all together and they told them that they were going to be given an assignment. Now, they're not being told that they're taking part of a study. So they don't realize that this is just basically a study. They really think that they're going to be graded on this assignment. They're being told that they're going to have this assignment. They're going to have to go and give a speech on the parable of the Good Samaritan from the Bible. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, the parable of the Good Samaritan was about a guy who was basically left for dead on the side of a road. There was some scholars and priests who had walked by. They didn't do anything to help the guy. Then there was a Samaritan who came by and helped the guy. Now, the Samaritan back in those times, they were looked at as pretty much bad people. So it really had a profound effect to show that, you can't, judge a book by its cover type of thing. That if somebody's a good person, they're a good person regardless of their nationality, color, all that stuff. So these seminary students, they were going to have to give a speech on their take of this parable. Now, some of the students were told that they would be in a hurry. They were running late. They were 15 minutes late. They had to hurry up and get over there. They were going to be going to a different location to give this speech, and that they had to hurry up. People were waiting on them, so they couldn't waste any time to get over there. Now, another group of the students were told that they had all the time in the world. Just take their time. Nobody's really there yet. Take your time and get over there. Now, on the way over to give this speech, they would run across a person that seemed to be in need of assistance. Whether he looked like he was injured, or there was books and stuff all over the place, and they looked like, they just looked like they needed some major assistance in some way. Now, this person was, of course, an actor, but the participants in this didn't realize that. So the people that were on their way and they were in a hurry, almost 100% of the people didn't stop to help the man. Now, you got to imagine, these are seminary students. These are people that are getting ready to give their whole life to service of God and God's people. Now, the other group of people who were told that they had a lot of time to get to their location where they were going to give this speech, they almost 100% of the time would stop and help. Now, why is this study important? It's important because of this, and it relates because of this. This was one group of seminary students who were basically good people. The fact that they didn't stop to help the man had nothing to do with who they were as a person. It all had to do with the external situational pressure that was going on around them. Meaning, they were either in a hurry or they weren't in a hurry. If they were in a hurry, then they wouldn't stop to help. And this relates to addiction because sometimes people will relapse and there may have been some type of external pressure that led to them doing that. Now, that's not to say, to let that be an excuse, let that be a cop-out, but we have to consider that when engaging in substance abuse treatment. And a lot of the time, instead of considering that, it's just put on the fact of, they just didn't work the program. And that's easy. Anybody can do that. You don't need any kind of special training to say, they just didn't work the program. You don't need any kind of degree or anything like that. Anybody could say that. There's no work in saying that. So what makes us unique at God's chosen ones is that we're willing to say, what's causing this? Let's go a little deeper here. Instead of just saying, they just didn't work the program. That's too easy. That's a cop-out. That just makes it to where these programs get let off the hook for not having to produce any success. But at the same time, nothing affects their salary. They still get the same salary. They still get the same funding. So we want to actually produce some success. So again, we want to put an end to this concept called the fundamental attribution error. There's an overestimation of people that just didn't work the program. It's easy to say that, and it's said too much, and it's causing a ridiculously low success rate. So again, this is Warren Garrett, where we want to try to specialize in solving the problem of ineffective drug and alcohol or any kind of substance abuse, and really make a difference in our society and community and in the world as a whole. So if you or anybody you know is having trouble with any kind of substance abuse and you don't know what to do, reach out to me or anybody in my team. You can call us at 717-889-0466. You can also visit us on our website. If you go to godschosenones.org, you can contact us there. And if your heart leads you, please donate to us. We can't do this on our own. We are all very committed to this. We're passionate about this. And if you're looking for some way to get involved, please reach out to us. We can always use the help. We can always use your knowledge, your ideas, your advice. Everything helps. So again, this is Warren Garrett, God's chosen ones. Have a good day and God bless.